Hello guys, and in today's YouTube video we're going to be talking about what I hope is going to be changed in PvP, or what I hope is planned to be changed in PvP next week in the TWAB on the 28th of July. Alright, so what they were saying, we got confirmation in the TWAB that we will be getting information on the 28th in the PvP realm. So what I'm hoping, I have a list of things that I hope, and the list goes from weapons to exotics, subclasses. And a lot of the weapons, I'm not going over like every little thing. I'm going over mainly the main pressure points that I think are the biggest issues in PvP, because I don't want this to be like, you know, literally a fucking 10-hour video where I explain every single thing I think is wrong with every single like thing that I think is wrong, like in every aspect of that and how they can change it and stuff like that. But I am going to go over the few weapons that I do think are an issue and offer some suggestions about how I think Bungie could potentially balance or fix these weapons or exotics or subclasses or abilities. So to start, we're going to start with everyone's beloved Lord of Wolves. I think there's a couple of ways that they could go at nerfing this. I think you're going to want to nerf it heavy because it's something that has been nerfed a lot previously. And I think no matter what they do to nerf it, it's always going to be something that's very good because, quite frankly, if you're within Lord of Wolves' effective range, it has a very, very high damage output. So I think the best thing for them to do would be to lower the ammo economy to make it more of something that you can't really spam. So make it so you spawn with 10 bullets instead of 15. And then also revert the change on Release the Wolves. I think it's a bug, but part of me thinks it's not, because I remember at one point when they were changing Release the Wolves, they made it so you could get more ammo, because at one point in the Lord of Wolves lifespan that was the main fire mode. So, but make it so you only get 5 bullets no matter what, and I would also make it so the range is brought down by like 10% or whatever to bring it even more further back in terms of, like, you know, it mapping. And then if you lower the ammo economy, I think it's going to be harder for people to ape people. They're going to need to close the gap a lot more effectively, because if they don't, weapon doesn't have nearly as much range. But if you're within its effective range, it's still going to be very, very good. Because quite frankly, I mean, the only way that they could make it so the gun wasn't good is if they just removed it out of the game. And I don't think that's something that they're ever going to do. So for a summary, lower the ammo economy, make it so the ammo economy is less overall by lowering the starting ammo, lowering the ammo you pick up, and dropping the range, making it so it's like, you know, you encounter range fall off more quickly. The next weapon is going to be the Last Word. So the Last Word was supposed to receive a accuracy nerf, and from my understanding, it did receive an accuracy nerf, but it also received a damage buff. For me, something that I personally feel would be a good idea for Last Word is to, instead of messing with the accuracy or anything like that, because I don't think the gun deserves to be completely useless. I think every gun deserves its place, so to speak. But I think Last Word should maybe, you know, given that it is something, the TTK is pretty heavily severe, or it's pretty heavily, like, suffers from not hitting headshots. I think they should make it so, you know, you have to be more precise with the weapon by lowering the magazine size from 8 to 6. So that way, you know, they kind of have to pace their shots more, be a little bit more precise instead of just spamming and spamming and spamming. Because for me, I feel like that's the issue with Last Word, is that at times people are able to just spam the fuck out of that thing. And, you know, there's just so many bullets. It's like, holy shit, there's literally no way that I'm not going to die here, because you just have so many bullets and you can just sit there and spam them. It doesn't really matter if you're like hitting me in the head or being precise. So it would kind of put more pressure on controller players, or I guess just players in general, because to my knowledge it's pretty good on mouse and keyboard now, but it would put more pressure on them to like actually have to hit their shots. So, and now we're on to Lorentz, or the weapons category of my suggestions and what I'm hoping for and what I think really needs to be addressed the most out of everything in the game currently in terms of PvP. For Lorentz, I think they need to drop the aim assist more, and I think they need to, to my knowledge, the flinch nerf that got reverted works in PvP. That is still something that's prevalent in PvP, from my understanding. So I think it's just drop the aim assist more, make it so it's not so forgiving in terms of where you can, because I'll watch people's streams using that weapon, and they'll be like aiming to the set. I mean, it's just all weapons in the game, right? Like the hitboxes in Destiny are just ridiculous, but I think dropping the aim assist another 10 would be good. Definitely wouldn't make the game worse, probably make the game better overall. And that's all I can really suggest for that weapon. I'm not too informed on what I would think needs to be nerfed, but I think that would probably be the thing. Perhaps drop the body shot damage significantly on it as well, so make it so it only really rewards you for hitting headshots. Those are potential things. So like I said, I'm not too informed. I think one of the biggest issues with the weapon is the aim assist value and how easy it is to hit crit shots. So I think the precision, a nerf to the the hitbox and the aim assist overall would be very good, and keeping the flinch as well. But I believe the flinch is still there. From my understanding. And the next weapon is the no time to explain. You should not be able to get ammo back on headshots, in my opinion. It's like ridiculous because you're just able to sit there and keep shooting and shooting and shooting. So one thing they could do is make it so you don't get ammo back on headshots, and make it so the amount of headshots you need to hit to get your little orb buddy is like 10, it's like 10 more. So it'd be 20. I think that's one way they could nerf it. It's still going to be a very solid pulse. There's not really a lot it's always, no time to explain literally has been the best pulse rifle in the game ever since they have introduced it into the game, and I don't think that's ever going to change unless they nerf that specific archetype of pulse rifle, which I don't think they plan to do. So, and now we are done with the weapons. There are more weapons in the sandbox that I think need to be nerfed and addressed and like looked at and balanced, but you know, I don't want to, like I said, make a 10-hour video going over every single weapon and every single piece of armor that I think currently really needs to be addressed or balanced. So we're going to kind of keep it short to make it a little bit easier to digest as a viewer. So on to the next thing is the exotic armor once again, and we're going to be talking about Omni. So I've made a video specifically on Omni, so I'm not going to talk about this too long, but generally I think a good nerf would be to make it so you no longer have any damage resist in PvP and you don't get nearly as much melee energy back, and make that like severe. In my opinion, like it needs a severe nerf, because even if you nerf the damage resist, still being able to go invis and make your teammates invis is pretty powerful. So like I said, one other thing they could do is maybe make it so if you're using Omni, you can only be invis for 5 seconds, like it negates all the fragments and all that stuff. And that's kind of like the drawback of using Omni, is you're able to make your teammates invis constantly, but that invis that you give them is at a shorter duration because of the fact that you're using Omni and because it is so easy to give them invis. But you'd probably, if that was the nerf that they did, you'd probably see a lot of people go to the Graviton forfeit potentially, but because it has a very long duration. But yeah, so that will be for Omni. And then for Ophidians, I think Ophidians, they don't really need to do anything. I think just remove the melee distance, perhaps. I don't mind Ophidians being good, but I think they definitely need to do something with Ophidians, because literally over half of warlocks in PvP use Ophidians, and I think for their philosophy of not wanting people to use, you know, the same stuff all the time, and them wanting there to be variety in the sandbox, you know, Ophidians being over half of the pick for warlock players is clearly a counterintuitive of that, or it counters that philosophy. So, and then the next thing is Lorelei. So I was looking into Lorelei a little bit, and the restoration comes from the sunspot, right? Because the helmet, they changed what sunspots do, my understanding, the functionality of sunspots. So now sunspots, well, maybe not. I think it potentially has something to do with a fragment. I don't know. But I think with Lorelei, because of how frequently you can create sunspots, if you have 10 resil, you get your shield every like 15 to 14 seconds. I think they should make it so Lorelei only gives you a 10% damage buff when you're in a sunspot, and, you know, kind of bring it back to that damage resist, or the increased damage. Before, I think it was 25% extra damage or 20 extra damage, which allowed you to like one tap with a lot of certain weapons. So I think if they bring it back to that damage increase, where it's like not too crazy of a damage increase, where you're able to like really change the TTK of a lot of weapons from one shot kills or 2-shot kills to 1-shot kills rather, but it's, you know, it's a decent increase, modest, not anything too crazy. And then onto the subclasses, we have Void Titan, Void Hunter, and Healing Grenades in Solo 3.0. So that's not really a subclass, that's more of an ability, but it's something that I think needs to be addressed, because the cooldown for healing grenades is a little quick, and I think oftentimes too quick. So I think they could probably look at increasing the duration of healing grenades. That would be a very, very simple change for that. Perhaps making it, you know, something more in line with like incendiary grenades and their cooldown. And then for Void Titan, I think they need to nerf the Bastion aspect in particular, the aspect that gives you the Void Shield. And I think it's okay that you're able to have a Void Shield, right? But then when you're able to run back to your Void Shield to regen your health on the Void Shield, like just make it so you put the shield down, you get an extra 45 health, and that lasts for 10 seconds, and then outside of that 10 seconds, it's gone. You can't go back to the shield and regenerate your health and, you know, all that. I think that is a good nerf to that. You know, you're gonna have that extra, like, 45 health initially. Like, increase the radius, perhaps give it a nerf and then a buff at the same time. So increase the radius of the shield, like, of the overshield from the shield, so they are able to give it to your teammates more freely, but make it so the overshield cannot be regenerated, and that's it. So you have that, the initial slam of the shield, and then that's it. You can come back and get the overshield if you want, or you can't come back and get the overshield if you want because there's no regeneration. So once they slam that shield, you get that one shield for like 8 to 10 seconds, depending on whether or not they have the fragment, and then that's it. And then for Void Hunter, I think they really need to look at Invis and what the functionality of it is, because for me, I feel like the current functionality where you're off radar and stuff, it just, I don't know, I don't like it. I think they should make it so Invis is only a visual change and that you're always constantly on radar, but that's just me. And I think other than that, Void Hunter is not too bad. It's just the Invis coupled with the Omnioculus makes it very difficult to deal with at times, and perhaps Invis is fine, but I just feel like one of the ways to kind of attack Omnioculus once again is to go after the Invis on Void 3.0 Hunter, and kind of to just attack this meta as well, to kind of bring more room for other things to kind of thrive in the meta, is if we nerf those two really, really strong subclasses, because all of the weapons, like Lord of Walls, Last Word, No Time to Explain, you know, you can use those on any class, but currently right now in like endgame, top 1% PvP, in normal, like unlike filtered sandbox, currently the meta is Omnioculus and Void Titans, and I've been saying this for weeks, months. That is the meta, and until they like open up other avenues for like other things to kind of peek their way into that meta, that's always going to be the meta right now. So anyway, this is the video of the things that I was hoping to see in the TWAB, and hopefully we do see these things on the TWAB on Thursday. Let me know if you guys enjoyed. I definitely want to make an in-depth video on every exotic weapon currently in the sandbox that I think needs to be nerfed, every exotic piece of armor. This was just kind of an overview of things that I'm hoping that we get in the TWAB next week. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell below for notifications. And if you want to be updated with things that are going on with me and the channel and everything, please make sure to go follow my Twitter at Diffizzle. And if you want more content from me and are enjoying the content on YouTube, I do stream on Twitch at twitch.tv/Diffizzle every day. So, and we'll make that the video. See you guys in the next one. Peace out.